Hey guys, the Monk52 here, of course. Today, we're just gonna put a video. Woo! Also, we're gonna try a new format. It's gonna take some training room testing, so let me know if you guys like this. So we're gonna test out the Verdi here. The Verdi is quite a difficult boat to get, well, difficult big boat to get used to. So we're gonna take a couple of shots in training room at different targets, Neptunes, very easy citadel targets, some battleships, and even some destroyers. So taking pot shots at targets like Neptune here, you can see the accuracy is not there. When you do land the hits, you get some relatively decent results, but the accuracy is not there. Like, this is a complete miss on a Neptune. We got one hit, one pen, like at 9 kilometers. This is not very good. I forget what build we're running, but even with an accuracy build, I don't see much value. When you do get hits, you get some pretty good hits, so it's definitely worth firing, as you can see. The salvos are quite nice when they actually land, but the problem is when they land. This Neptune here, we're getting rather unlucky with 3 over pens. He is 4 kilometers away. Fast forwarding a little bit here, see maybe if we arc forward, see what we shoot backwards on the front of the ship and the back of the ship. You can see we get lucky there, we got Citadel here. And this is another thing, kind of like testing the pen. Montana's actually a very hard boat to Citadel. Try a low caliber gun and try and get him to play Citadel. Montana is actually quite challenging. It's a very good test subject for gun penetration and gun effectiveness, because this Montana Citadel is actually quite hard to get with a lot of guns. At 3 kilometers you should be able to get it here. How we do get it right underneath the turrets there. It's just a bit of consistency. Now you can see there, that was the 6 pens or 4 pens. Pens were there, only got 1 Citadel. So not too many Citadels on Montana. Okay, first, this is the wee cheek infamous point here. We get maybe cheeky Citadel, but didn't get much. But the 3 pens did a fair amount of damage. Secondary tests against Colbert. The secondaries are not that potent. You gotta remember, the boat will not be giving flat broadside. You won't be giving angles. They'll be turning. They'll be moving. But this is a bit of good test as Eddie. You can see the secondaries are hitting relatively hard when they hit, but this is when they're hitting the superstructure or not the lower belt, because the lower belt doesn't work. That's not how SAP works. I'm going to put a video on how SAP works later on, hopefully. When I get the time, I need to get working on it, but yeah, you can see the pens are pretty good, 700, 600, even 1 over 1000, 1.3. Get some decent hits when they land and hit the right spot. And again, these boats will be moving, they'll be turning. Shots that would have missed would have hit, and shots that would have hit would have missed. You can see we're also hitting the boat to the other side, so the secondary number is a little bit misleading. It's more focusing on the damage numbers we see on the Colbert itself. But can't talk, of course, not like I'm doing a video. Aha! But yes, you can see the guy goes down. This is good. Care first test about 7 km, pretty close range brawling. You can see when you aim a bit higher up, you're getting a lot more consistency. Reading in higher up, typically you aim higher up for more consistent, less accurate boats. You can see 6 pens. That was some decent. I believe that was 6 pens. That was some decent damage there. Secondary test on a Yugamo, but we're about 6 km, relatively far for these secondaries. It will take quite some time for this thing to go down. Again, if you really want to be like looking, you can rewind the video and get the timestamp from the battle timer at the top. You can see, but the general consensus is that the secondaries are a complement. They're not your main source of damage against destroyers. You can't just let them run and just don't worry about it like you would with Prince Rupert, essentially, or a Zeton or something like that, or even Schlieffen. You really can't. Like, the damage is good when they hit, of course. So building as a secondary is probably advisable in terms of Peruna, especially. You can see the pen, Citadeling Alsace, again, no easy feat. So the pen's pretty good. These are 16-inch Italian shells, which are no joke. Great pen, great velocity. So when they do hit really hard, but the problem is when they hit is a big scenario. This is an Alsace at 4 kilometers. The reason it's not too important to range is because the turtleback is not perfect. You can see we're not getting Citadels anymore, but the salvo was there, and most of this test here is just seeing how we kill the DD. It does take quite some time to take this DD out with just secondaries and not the booster. The reason we're not using the booster is because I just want to see how the base secondaries work without using the booster to hyperinflate their stats. So yeah, we'll take another pot shot. Alsace this time at midsection, see how we do. On the stern shot we got a Citadel, and we got some pens. This time we got 4, so you can see Neil Sass is there. The Panto should be a relatively easy Citadel on a broadside, and we do get 7 pens. The pen is alright, but you're not getting Kanto pens. Can we Citadel the Yamato? Yamato Cheek is a pretty easy Citadel for most targets. Problem is that we actually need to hit the target, so take 2. We'll fire again. We spin our fire up. It really shouldn't make a difference because each gun has its own accuracy, but you can see very easy Citadel on the cheek of Yamato. This is 10 kilometers. A general, for a brawling battleship, this is a general range. You can see, aiming for the main Citadel, the main belt Citadel, we can Citadel that as well. So the Giuseppe has no problem with pen. This scenario here, we're running a radar test to see if the secondaries can kill a DD within the duration of a radar. It's pretty close, but we do just manage to pull off. I turn off the secondaries the moment we lose our radar. So this is a real situation where we radar the DD, he's close by, and we're just trying to kill him just with secondary power. We've got 10 seconds left, and he's lost a lot of health. He is 3.5 kilometers away, so there is the advantage there. We're moving a wee bit as well. But this is a very test here when we run out now. Secondaries off, the moment radar expires. The gun's still in the air, finish off the DD. Pretty close test. I'd say with a wee bit of gunfire supporting, you probably are going to kill a DD in a radar situation, if provided you get enough secondary hits and you complement with your main gun, main battery guns. You can see here Montana Citadel, again, relatively consistent in terms of actually, if we have the pen for it, we can relatively do it. Those 2 shells there, they kind of met together and form the double Citadel. So on to modules here. I actually recommend Secondary Barrier mod as the first mod. You could run aiming systems, but I think Secondary Barrier is just a bit more potent because of the dispersion buff and a bit more range. It just gives you a bit more oomph for your secondaries. That really helps out, I feel. For secondary option, secondary module, heavily recommend prop mod. Damage control could do work, even maybe steering, but I think prop mod is just the best option there. It's just with the best in tier for that option. And concealed mod is obviously best in tier again. You could run RGA, but it's a very funky build. Don't recommend running secondary barrier mods. I recommend buffing your main guns. They're primaries for a reason. First off, 69k health, yes. Italian 406s. Hey, sounds very good, but it's got crap range. Speed is good, concealment's meh. Armor is actually really good, as I've been highlighting. You'll showcase this later on. 55mm deck, which is no joke. Even heavy cruisers will struggle to pen that. You'll be shattering most HE in the game with your deck armor. Superstructure isn't that much, and of course, even the front part of the deck, you've got a somewhat resemblance of a turtleback. It's not that effective, but it does help. Most of the time, you're getting pens. You're not really getting pens or bounces or shatters. Really not getting many over pens. But that's the downside to having a really tanky hull. Improved healing as well on, you can see from the overview, greater heal. Secondary reach and speed, a bit questionable, but anyway. On to commander build, we're using Palo di Revel under the guise of Ella Rossi here. Not one for nuisance. Porcupine is what we're currently running, but we've run Adamson's Touch in the game showcase here. Heavily recommend on second thought because of the change of fight fire with fire, because of the massive buffs it gets. You're ready to run Firefighter because of Fight Fire with Fire. You get Mass Mechanic, Franz Von Hipper, and Michael Tier actually buffs your secondary damage by quite a bit, and Snap secondary alpha is really important. So if you have the option, yeah. If you don't, Cunningham's a good choice, Jellicoe, and Haruna, again, if you have the options. In the match, we're in division with Mr. Dan, team lineup, 2Ds, quite a few BBs, quite a few cruisers as well, and this is really where we're going to highlight the Giuseppe's strengths. Now, I know this is a long video, but I just wanted to see how detailed you guys like the videos, and if you guys want less of this, by all means I'll add timestamps so you can skip back and forth, but we'll see. I just think this thing is really meant to be played more of a tank push brawler, the unstoppable, immovable object, essentially. It's an incredibly tanky beast, the Giuseppe Verdi, provided at your angle too, of course, and the guns may be inconsistent, but the really inconsistent guns are problematic, but not the end of the world, because if you're around long enough, you can make them consistent. And Giuseppe has that tankiness to go with it. It may not have a smoke screen that the other Italian battleships have, but it has some incredible tankiness that is not to be underestimated. This thing angled is hard thing to remove. Of course, torps will cause problems and broadside shots will cause a lot of problems, but it's a tanky boat, and if you can get yourself in a nice comfy position where you can push the enemy, there really isn't much that can stop a Verdi in terms of battleship pushing. It's a pretty tanky boat. Guns, again, inconsistent, but with the build we have, we're going to have hits, we're going to have misses, we're going to have bits and bobs, you know. Considering the grand scheme of it, we traded pretty well there. We didn't trade positively, but it was okay. We've got heals, we've got tankiness, we can keep pushing here. Now, the thing about Giuseppe pushing and being aggressive is because we have the radar, we can be aggressive, we can make these plays, we can pop the sonar, we can pop the secondaries, you know, we've got this advantage here, we can do this. Z46 with the sonar has been helpful, but probably would have dodged the torps anyway, in the grand scheme of it. We put the secondaries firing, the radar's going. Secondaries are not doing much, to be fair, but still, it's better than nothing. Pressure's on for the guy. So some secondary shots are out. We're pushing, we can see the torps, we're dodging. We get a nice wee juicy secondary hit, 4, 5 secondary hits. It really adds up. Radar is about to expire any minute now, but it's expired. There we go. We did some sizable damage to that DD. He lights up a bit more and he's already out. So that radar was really valuable. That push, early push onto that DD was value. And this is really what I'm talking about with Verdi. You're pushing and you're getting value from that push, because it's very difficult to stop a battleship that has the radar, has SAP secondaries, so DDs do not like to get close to you. You've got some potent guns, they may be inaccurate, sure, but close enough, anything becomes accurate. And pretty quick fire rate as well if you build into it. So you can get some really good value here. Now right now, pushing, if you follow the rules of brawling that I have listed in Discord, you'll realise that this is not the right time to brawl. You gotta pick your moments, of course, just with any battleship, just with any ship in the game. You can pick the right time to brawl. When the right time to brawl is, well, I'll leave that for people in my Discord to discover. If you're not in there, join it. Also, if you haven't already, I caught you off guard randomly at the midpoint of this video. Subscribe. No, if you do like the content, please, I do appreciate the like. And if you haven't subscribed already, if you're enjoying, you're watching this far, then I really do consider subscribing. I do put out content like this, and even if when I'm not putting out a video, I do a live stream every Thursday at 7 PM UK time, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have or play a ship that you want to see done, or at least give you a rough estimate of how the strengths and weaknesses of said boat. So don't be afraid to punch that subscribe button. Don't be afraid to smack that like button. Or even give me a wee comment. Tell me how I'm doing. Doing anything wrong? Do you like the format? Do you not like the format? All that malarkey. Please, interactions help YouTube massively, so any help is appreciated. Even if it's a dislike, I'll take it. Anyway, on to the game here. Back onto the game. This is the time to push. DD is spotted. Known location is last known location in Bravo. We have our division mate in the destroyer going after him. So at least, worst case scenario, he's screening for torps. If he dies, let's just hope he doesn't die. We're losing gun turrets, we're losing some modules, but at the end of the day, it's not going to kill us. We can push this. D is now spotted. We see him over there. Can't torp us right now, but you need to be aware that you can torp us in the future, so we'll be careful about this. Wichita, we don't really care about him too much. 16-inch guns, we can punch right through that if we're careful, if we're smart, sorry. And there's a lot of boats here. It's turned into a no brawl situation. There's too many boats here. This is the time where we showcase the Giuseppe Verdi's true strength, which is tanking. It is incredibly tanky. Very hard to kill, bar torps and broadside shots. This thing is not going down without a fight. This is essentially one of the rocky ships like the Veneto. Very tanky boat, very difficult to remove. And if they're shooting at me, they're not shooting at my teammates. This is where battleship tanking is important, because these other ships behind me, other ships to the side of me, they're a lot more vulnerable than I am, and I don't mind taking some fire. I've got improved healing, improved heals with Giuseppe. You've got a lot to give. It really is quite a tanky boat, and my secondaries, they may not set some fires, but they can do some work. And again, even these guns, which are very inconsistent, can do some work here. Fortunately there, Mr. Potato there is doing quite well. decent DD player and he really helped out. But even if he wasn't there, we could potentially deal with that Massachusetts as well, just to highlight. Take a pot shot on Plymouth and we're just going to try and tank as best we can. We're backing up. There's a lot of ship here. This is their entire team, or what's left of it, including their DD. We have a radar available, but right now we're not in a good position to shoot the DD. And DD probably hasn't pushed us. We get quite a good wee shot on the New Jersey. Again, you fire enough salvos in the air, eventually you'll get what you need to get. You can see you only got 40k, so the damage we've done hasn't been really good at all. It's really about the tanking we provided and the fact that we took out that DD early on, the first one. Bismarck is pushed way too much, and again, we can't really rely on, like, as much as I like to tank for my team, he is offering, if I push any more than this, I'm probably going to get torped or even prone to dying even faster, so let's not do that. Now, I need to pick the right time to use this radar. He's in the cap potentially, or is that probably just New Jersey there, so probably not. Wichita is a prime target because I can overmatch him, whereas Bismarck cannot, so I can get some shots. I do actually get a bounce there, pen over pen again. Giuseppe guns are not consistent, but the boat itself staying alive can be relatively consistent given enough time. So enough time, any guns can be consistent, so let's see if we can just keep pushing this there. So this is the time where Bismarck's probably going down. You can tank for him here a little bit. We're using island cover to our right to mitigate the shots coming in from the right, and we're using our secondary suite to try and work on either Wichita or New Jersey. Right now we're focusing on the Wichita because he's a little bit more annoying than New Jersey. This angle New Jersey is a little bit open, but we actually managed to bounce the entire salvo, so I actually take that back. So we see Plymouth again, broadside shot. This is our second salvo in this guy. As you can see, he's been really heavy from the first salvo. DD gets spotted. It's a Friesland because I'm watching a replay and I do forget this thing does not have torps because it's Friesland. I didn't see that it has Friesland. We pop our radar pop, we focus secondaries on him, and the whole duration of the radar and the secondary combo is actually quite potent. Provided he's fighting someone else, we can do some really good value. Now Friesland is unfortunately not as well, fortunately for the Friesland, not as big as concern as the Wichita is, because the Wichita is 3 kilometers, he is within ramming distance. Friesland can do the damage of the guns, yes, but he cannot torp me. Wichita can become the torpedo if he's not careful. His AP is not going to do anything against an angled Giuseppe. And our guns are reloading slowly but surely. At 2 kilometers, even the Giuseppe Verdi is going to have a tough time missing. And Wichita's special skill of no armor is best armor doesn't work when you're angled. So that is taken out Wichita, always satisfying. He was trying to become the torpedo and ram me because for some reason he just gave up on trying to gun me down. New Jersey's also down here. I was pushing me flat broadside. You gotta love that. This is the time where we're probably gonna just back up and get our guns all on track here. We've only lost half our health and we've tanked an absolute metric butt ton. I'm actually going to take a look at my stats after this game and I'll show you how much this tank, because this is the most I've ever tanked in the Giuseppe. I think it was close to 3 million or something. If I don't have the clip, it's roughly about 3 million or 2.5 million. Maybe even 4 million. I think it's 4 million actually. 4 to 3.5 million potential damage tanked. The damage is you can tank quite a lot. We've still got 2 more heals left just to add on to the tankiness. This boat is an absolute monster in terms of soaking up hits for your team and aggressive pushes using that radar, and then you pair with the secondary consumable as well. And look how much we can heal from our heals. We've got improved healing on Giuseppe as well. These are good heals and the value is just there. We picked up the Confederate. Without a doubt we're getting Dreadnought, assuming we don't die. Nothing really can stop us in terms of boats because the Freezer doesn't have torps, and I don't believe the other cruiser, Kronstadt doesn't have torps either, and the battleship of course does not have torps either as well. So no torps, no problems, as long as you don't give flat broadside to a Kronstadt or the other ship. I think that's another cruiser, but regardless, he's not going to have a fun time. It might be a Plymouth actually. Yes, the Plymouth does have torps, but we'll see how he fares against guns. Again, Giuseppe Verdi guns are inconsistent, but you know, we really want to get secondaries on him, the rear gun of justice, and we're going to turn away from the torps because that's the only thing that's really going to sink us. The rear Italian turret of justice arrives and takes him out, which is lovely. The torpedoes are coming. We're going to slow down, and the Italian battleships have the olive oil steering. So we can actually duke the entire torpedo salvo, which is close, don't get me wrong, but in the real world there, we duked them quite well. We knew they were coming, so we did our best to compare, but the Giuseppe Verdi's turning, excellent turning I might add, is really helpful there. Friesen pops up just for a second, long enough to get some sap salvo and a main gun salvo in, and Giuseppe is behaving. We did land one shell was all we needed, probably landed more. And then we'd fight the Kronstadt, but we have reached 1,000 points, and that is game molasses. That is a dreadnought for damn sure. And you can see what I meant about the tankiness and how really effective that gives us. We got a death strike because of Wichita pushed us up like 1 kilometer. Second in the team, second only to a competent DD player. So you can see the values there. Potential damage isn't as highly ranked in XP, so I think you don't get much for it, but the game would have been completely different if we didn't tank what we did. So guys, hope you enjoyed, as always, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.